do want to pause today on this show to recall my good friend Stuart Scott. You've seen it on the Worldwide Leader all morning. If you're on Twitter, you've seen all the sentiments, and his daughters, Taylor and Sydney, reading a letter to their dad in a video today on the one-year anniversary of his passing at the age of 49 in a battle with cancer that he waged so bravely. And the way he fought has inspired millions. There's no two ways about it. And I don't even know what to say other than the fact that I think about him every day. And I think about moments like Week 17 in the NFL and obviously the NBA that he loves so much, and Steph Curry and what he's been able to do, and the magical run that the Warriors are on, and the Spurs still doing what they're doing, seeing what Jordan Spieth did in golf last year, Tiger's struggles, all of these stories miss Stuart's take, miss the way that he would come on the air and talk about him in a manner that no one else does, and so many are emulating on the air today. I miss him. I loved him. And it was 1 year ago today that we lost him, and I still can't believe it. 49 years of age. He'd be a 50-year-old man right now with two beautiful daughters. And I thought about it. I'm like, how can we talk about him? And who better to do it? I don't know how I'm going to get through this segment. Who better to do it than the coach of the team that he loved more than any other? And that was the University of North Carolina, the basketball team, whose coach, Roy Williams, even though he's got a game tonight against Florida State, for crying out loud, in 6 hours are tipping off. He's been kind enough to call in to talk about Stuart Scott. Coach Williams, greatly appreciate it. It's been a long time since we've talked. Thanks for taking the time today.
Well, Rich, thank you very much. And we both had a great friend that some people are saying awfully good things about and will for the next 100 years. So it's a neat deal. When
did you first meet Stuart, Coach?
Oh, man, you're talking to a guy who's 65 years old. I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning unless it's a basketball game, and I can tell you every play from 30 years ago. But
right.
It was a long time. I was coaching at Kansas, and I'd already left North Carolina as an assistant. I was there for 10 years, but I was coaching at Kansas. I think it was an NCAA tournament time period in there, but I had followed him, needless to say, because every time Sports Center was on, I would always hear that Vince Carter Tar Heel thing at the end, and so there's no telling when it was, but just a guy that I admired a great deal.
Roy Williams joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what are your memories of Stuart then, I guess? What if, let's say, one of your players one day wants to know what he was like? What would you tell him, Coach?
I would tell him that he was the most genuine friend that someone could really have. And with Stuart, if you shared a bond like I did because of our love for the University of North Carolina, you could go months without seeing him or talking to him. And when you saw him, it was just like you were with him the night before. And that bond that the University of North Carolina is really strong, but it's strong because of people like Stuart Scott. So that would be the first thing, but he was genuine too. He could say some things that other people couldn't pull off, but he could do those things because even though he loved the Tar Heels, he loved athletics. He loved people trying to focus and make sacrifices and the old cliche, being the best that they could be. But I would tell my players that first thing was how genuine he was, and then how he cared about people. I think that would be one thing that I would hope someone would say about me one of these days, that I cared about people. But if you didn't realize that with Stuart Scott, you weren't paying attention.
Well, he was a competitor too, Coach. There's no question. I think he thought he could have suited up for the Tar Heels.
He told me that several occasions, and I just laughed at him and went on. And he said, "Coach, come on now, give me a little love." And but he did tell me about his pursuit of the club football team at North Carolina and all that kind of stuff that was going on. But he liked the challenge. There was no question about that. He he loved the challenge. That competitive side of him was something that I had a great deal of respect for as well.
No, he did. I remember his game, Coach. He would chuck it up from three.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wasn't very shy about it too. He would do it. He would do it often.
It's one of those sayings, a lot of guys like shooters. I like makers. I'm not so sure that Stuart might have just been in the shooter category.
That is funny because he was that. I mean, he made a few in his day. He definitely made a few in his day. There's no two ways about it.
To me, the thing is that he did love to play, and he loved to play anything. He loved that part of it, whether it was the kickboxing stuff at the end or whatever. But he made a profound statement at North Carolina one night when he kneeled down, because I got him to come back to our late night celebration for the silly reason we call it late night with Roy kind of thing. But he came down and he pounded on the floor at the center line, and it's in your heart, it's on your shirt, it's part of you kind of thing. And that was one of the most one of those moments in my life I'll never forget, because when he's doing that and saying that, I got cold chills. And, because I felt that with Stuart, but he was able to do that with a lot of things because he did care. And I think those qualities are something that everyone would want to have.
Roy Williams, Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer, head coach of North Carolina, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. And one of the things I just can't believe about him not being with us anymore, Coach, is also just about the speech he made at the ESPYs and how it's sort of this generation's or this millennium's version of the Jimmy V speech.
Exactly.
Years ago, and I can't believe Stuart is that guy. I just can't believe it, Coach.
He had a side to him that he didn't let people in until the end. He cared. I keep going back to that. He cared deeply about people. But that side that he showed that night and calling his daughter up on the stage, Jimmy Valvano's speech will last forever, but Stuart's bringing his daughter up on the stage, Rich, is something that I get emotional talking about it, because it was one of those moments that, it stood still, and you think, good gracious, I wish I could think of something that would help him, but I was so proud because he honored his daughter that way that night, and that was a touching moment.
I don't mean to pry, but are you gonna say something to your team tonight before Florida State about Stuart, or is that go unsaid? Is there anything about tonight's game that we can know about?
No, I know it, and I'm sure some of our players know it, but Stuart would like this. I've said some things and will say some things to my team, but it's very private, and that's the way that he would like it.
Coach, again, I can't thank you enough. I know you're on a game day and you don't do these sorts of things on a game day, but you were the first person I thought of. I really, I know what he thought about you and the school. I mean, when he came back and delivered the commencement address, it was one of the proudest moments I've ever seen for him and by him. I'll never forget that. And you were the first person I thought of, so I appreciate it.
Well, Rich, I really appreciate that. And 65-year-old guy sitting in a hotel room in Tallahassee, Florida, getting emotional. Hitting sports is a great thing, and some friends that you have and some friends and people that you meet in this business last forever and ever and ever. And Stuart Scott will last forever and ever and ever.
Coach, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Good luck tonight. We'll chat down the line.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's Roy Williams, coach of North Carolina, joining me here.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.